What's up, YouTube? Reg Fox if you know me, Star Fox if you don't. And I have a story to tell. Before we start, pause this. Go ahead and grab yourself a drink, your cognac, your vodka, your milk, your juice, whatever it is that you drink. I want you to set sails with me on this voyage because I have a story to tell. I'm having my drink. Today we're dealing with this effing vodka. That's not a product placement. I like to try new things. And so we go. The day began like any other day. Only this time we were on the golf course, somewhere on the South Shore. It wasn't a good day on the course for me. I believe I was 2 under par. So it wasn't a good day. It was an okay day. The wind was blowing. The sky was blue. And the sun was at a nice 80 degrees. After the game, it was a charity event for Angela's house. So go ahead and support. But after the game, we had cocktail hour. And so the story begins. There she was, sitting there. Face was innocent, but her body had bad intentions. I had a Captain Morgan with Coke. I believe she had red wine. I sat next to her, and we danced. She began to tell me about her career goals, the big picture, and all her aspirations in life. I was entranced by the dress she was wearing. The dress was full of curves, showed every curve. She had sinister intentions with that dress. But we began to talk. Or like I like to call it, we began to thought box. She began to hit me with jab after jab after jab. It was a company event. And she was well educated on all aspects of the ACA, insurance, life insurance, everything you can think of. Beauty and brains. I was no match. Jab after jab after jab. Not to mention her smile caused shockwaves through my body, through my system. I used the drink as a buffer. She began to stroke the glass, continuing her feminine power over me. We stopped there. I had to give up. I had to quit. I told her I'll see her again. This was just cocktail hour. We had a whole dinner to go to. And I told her we'll talk again. I wiped myself from all the scars that I took, from every jab that her and her feminine powers was able to place. Laser-like precision. Her heels, her hair like a shampoo commercial. The dress, I was no match. In fact, YouTube, here, this is what I was wearing that day. No match. But I dust my shoulders off and I remembered I had my suit in the car. So I went in, took my suit, decided to go to Clubhouse, take a shower, the usual. Dove soap, Dove deodorant, clinical protection for the summertime. And I remembered that I also had a game changer with me in the car. Captain. So a little embarrassed with my failures. I am a married man, so it wasn't about trying to capture this beauty's heart. It was more so trying to compete, masculine against feminine. I tried every phrase, every piece of game, to no avail. She was just too much for me that night. And the little black dress was too sinister. So I decided, after I took my shower, 2 sprays, left side of the neck, right side of the neck. 2 more sprays, left side of the wrist, right side of the wrist. I was on a mission. The evening began with hors d'oeuvres. I'm on my second Captain Morgan and Coke. The hour, 7:15 p.m. And I wanted to dance again. But this time I was armed. This time I was ready. I was determined. There she was. As brilliant as she can ever be. I don't know what she was wearing, but her fragrance, something between apple pie, honey, something sweet, something edible. But the tide began to change. I'm the captain now. I sat down full of confidence. I began to tell her my story. She began to stroke the glass stem up and down. She decided to reapply her lipstick. I believe it was MAC. Then she asked me what fragrance was I wearing. I told her a treasure. She got closer and said, "There's something about it." She began to talk to me in the same manner that she tried earlier, but something was different. The current, the energy was different. This time it began to dawn upon me that she was being affected by my fragrance, by my pheromones. Indeed, the tide was changing. She crossed her legs and uncrossed her legs in decent exposure. She pulled out every stop. She played with her hair. She exposed her wrist, her neckline, but she was no match. She continued to tell me about how she's feeling different. Something was beginning to flow. She started telling me about her travels and how she wanted to set sail on all the great seas, on the 7 seas. I turned up the heat. I leaned in closer. I talked to her about Angela's house and all the great charities. She began to float. Similar to the cartoons, following a scent. She began to laugh, touch my arm. That's when I knew I got her. That's when I knew I got her. She wasn't playing fair in the beginning, YouTube. Curves, the hair, the makeup, the heels. It wasn't a fair fight. So I decided I needed a storm. I needed the forecast to change. I needed the wind to blow on my side. And with every breeze, she began to inhale this intoxicating fragrance. She became weaker. She began to fall. By the end of the night, ladies and gentlemen, she was putty in my hand. I was the captain. And she was ready to take all orders. She was ready to set sail and tackle any tidal waves that came our way. She began to flow. She began to flow. I was the captain. I was in charge. I won the night. The story ends with mutual respect. Again, I'm a married man. We exchanged cards. She did whisper in my ear ever so slightly and asked me if I could take her home. While she took another whiff of my neck and demanded I tell her what fragrance I was wearing. I kept it to myself. I told her I'm a married man. It was a pleasure meeting her, and we shall meet again. Captain. 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 I went home that night. My wife greets me at the door and asks me what I was wearing. I led her to the bedroom. It was a passionate night. She said, and I quote, "Something about the way you smelled today had my juices flowing, and it really brought out the animal in me." Buyer beware. This is some dangerous stuff. Red Fox if you know me. Star Fox if you don't. Captain is the truth. Good day.